Hi everyone, Liane here. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to be reviewing this pen. This is the Opus 88 demonstrator pen in Twilight Sonata, and I'm going to be inking it up with this ink. This is Wearingeul's Call of the Cthulhu. And as you can see on the sticker, it's like a deep saturated greenish teal ink with a beautiful sheen. So I'm really excited to test out these products. Oh, I also wanted to mention that I'm going to provide some ink comparisons, do some writing samples, ink swatches, and then also I'm going to do some side-by-side comparisons of this pen as well. I got these from Goldspot Pens. They are Goldspot Pens Exclusives. Thank you, Tom, for sending these my way. Really excited to try them out. So I already took it out of the box. It comes in this really sturdy paper, like magnetic closure box. Inside, you'll see an instruction booklet. It has an extra silicone O-ring, and then it also comes with this glass eyedropper. And here is the pen. It's the Opus 88 demonstrator. The silhouette is identical. Actually, it's identical to this Opus 88. Same ink capacity. I mean, everything is the same. The only different thing about it, of course, is it's like the finishes and also the acrylic that was used. So this would officially be my second Opus 88 demonstrator. This is in a fine nib, a Jowo number 6 nib. And you have to take a look at the resin. It's a diamond cast acrylic resin made by Mackenzie Penworks. And what's beautiful about this diamond cast is that the glitter particles that you see here are made by diamond. They're diamond dust. It's really beautiful. It's elegant. And I just love this pen. It's dramatic without being garish. And so it's got like beautiful shades of bright and deep blues. And then it has this sort of burgundy wine color that's also mixed in. So I think it's really, really gorgeous. The other thing about the Opus 88 demonstrators is their ink capacity. So you fill it directly into this chamber with your glass eyedropper. You fill it and you'll basically get like around 3.5 milliliters of ink, which is so much when you compare it to just your typical fountain pen ink capacity. I think it ranges anywhere from like 0.5 milliliters of ink in your Kaweco, like the ink converters in the Kaweco Classic Sports, to I think even like TWSBI Ecos, there's like 1.5 milliliters. And these are also what I would call like higher ink capacity pens. But this is 1.5 milliliters. And that's something that I saw on the website. And then you look at the Opus 88 demonstrator. This is 3.5 milliliters. I'm not one that writes pages and pages and pages a day. So this would last me a very, very long time. I mean, I would say, if I really committed to it, and this is the only pen that I wrote with, I probably could finish it in a month, but I'm telling you, it would take me forever. But that's a good thing, especially if you're somebody who wants to just have one or two pens and you want to keep it inked with your favorite ink, then I would say this is a great buy. At the very least, it's a great addition to your collection, to anybody's collection. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just demonstrating this shut-off valve. This is an eyedropper pen. So when in use, you want to unscrew so that it releases any sort of pressure, especially if the pressure builds. Because the longer you're holding this pen, the warmth of your hand will definitely warm up the chamber of the eyedropper. And if it warms up, then you're increasing the air pressure in there, or you're increasing the pressure, and you'll get some accidental burps, if you know what I mean. I don't really understand the technical aspects of why it burps, but all I know is that it's important with eyedropper pens to be able to release some of that air. So that's what this is for. And so then you will write, and when you are done, you'll just shut her down. You'll just screw it tight again and then put the cap back on, and then you are done with your writing session. And that's great. It's great for travel. It's great for planes. But also it's just great in general. If you're going to have an eyedropper pen and it's high capacity like this, to avoid that accidental ink burp, it's important that you have some sort of mechanism that releases the air pressure inside the chamber. And so that's what the screw cap, that's what the screw is for. So that's what's amazing about it. So now why don't I just go ahead and fill it with ink. So what I just figured out is that you can, because of the flat bottom, it rests perfectly in an ink vial holder. This is an ink vial holder from Fountain Pendulum. And so what I'm doing now is I'm unscrewing it. I'm filling it with Call of the Cthulhu, or Call of the Cthulhu. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we go. Oh, look at that. Okay, I filled it to the brim. Also, I forgot to mention this, but I've never heard of this work of art. It's called Call of the Cthulhu, or Cthulhu, written by H.P. Lovecraft. I Googled who H.P. Lovecraft was, and he was an author from the early 1900s who basically started the whole genre of like horror fiction or pulp fiction. I can do a quick side-by-side comparison. This is the Opus 88 in the clear acrylic. This is a TWSBI Eco white and rose gold. Actually, why don't I have it this way? You can see these are identical in size. And then I have the TWSBI Eco in white and rose gold. I also have the Leonardo Memento Zero, also Goldspot Pens Exclusive in Foresta Umbra. Oh, I also brought this out because this is also diamond cast resin. And I don't know if this is also made by Mackenzie Penworks, but I'll have that clarified on screen. But this is also diamond cast. So this is Leonardo Memento Zero, not Grande. And finally, I have the Lamy All-Star. So for a quick size comparison, you could see it's definitely the most substantial. And even just by holding the ink or holding the pen before I even inked it up, it's still the heaviest. It's probably the weightiest pen out of the, I mean, not considering this one, but out of these 4 different models, the Opus 88 is definitely the heaviest. Let's see, capped, it stands at about 5 3/4 inches. When it's unposted, it's about 5, just shy of 5.5 inches. I would say it's like 5 3/8 of an inch. And then if I were to post the pen, oh, can I even post it? Wow, I mean, I guess you could. Post it, it's 7 3/4 of an inch. You're essentially adding, oh, wow, it's a tight fit. I wouldn't post it actually if I were you. 2.5 inches, not really adding 2.5 inches, but that's a very long pen. And then if I were to unpost all of the pens, you see how big the Opus 88 is. So this is a Leonardo Memento Zero. This is the TWSBI Eco. And then lastly, the Lamy All-Star. There we go. So now onto the ink. So I have 2 other inks here that I think will be really interesting to compare with Call of the Cthulhu. I have Diamine Holly, and I also have Tatcha Sabi Midori. They're both saturated. They're both kind of like green teal inks, and they both have a bit of sheen to them. This is a sheening ink for sure. And then this one also has some sheen. So, I mean, even just looking at the bottles together, I think they're gonna look very interesting, very similar. Okay, so let's do Call of the Cthulhu. No. Oh, it's a little more blue than I thought. So as I think about it, what might be interesting is to bring out Diamine Aurora Borealis as well. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Twilight Sonata. My first impression right now is I really love this nib. It's a fine nib, stainless steel. There's a certain sort of sound that this nib makes when it writes, when it glides across the page. It almost kind of sings. And the only time I've really experienced that sort of sound, that experience, is with a vintage pen. So I think it's really interesting. It's really nice. And the ink is... Oh, look at that. Oh, I love it. By the way, the notebook and the paper that I'm testing this ink and pen on is the Hobonichi A5 plain notebook. It uses, I believe it's the original Tomoe River paper, not the Sanzen paper, but the Tomoe River paper. And I really love this ink. The reason why I really love this ink is because one of my favorite, not necessarily my top 5 favorite, but one of my favorite inks is Diamine Holly. And this is very similar to this. I would say this is maybe a little bit more blue, but we'll see. Actually, what I'll also do is do a writing sample with the glass tip pen that I'll use on the other inks as well. So this is... Oh, wow. It is so rich and saturated. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to bring out Aurora Borealis. Now I'm gonna try Tatcha Sabi Midori. Ooh, this looks more blue, which is surprising to me because I think it ends up drying to more of a green color. And I think translated it means like rust green. So this is Tatcha Sabi Midori. Oops. Oh, wow. Look at that. What do you think? Very similar. Okay, now the next ink is going to be Diamine Holly. Okay, I talked a lot about this ink last year in 2023. Okay. Okay, this is definitely more green, as the name suggests. Ooh, wow. Okay, so even just looking at Call of the Cthulhu. It's definitely more like Tachisabi Midori. Oh, wow. But definitely the thing that the common denominator is definitely the fact that they're all saturated inks. They do develop a beautiful sort of sheen to them as the ink dries. Okay, now I'm gonna go get Diamine Aurora Borealis. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with Aurora Borealis. Okay. Oh, looks pretty similar to Wearingeul's Cthulhu. I think there are lots of different ways to pronounce it, but I think I read on Wikipedia that it's commonly pronounced as Cthulhu or Cthulhu. Oh, I'm glad I brought this color out because I'm finding that it looks very similar to this ink, the Wearingeul ink. Okay. Aurora Borealis. Wow. We're going to let the ink swatches dry, and then I'll do a close-up comparison. And meanwhile, I'm also going to do a writing sample of my inked pen. I have written this on Logical Prime notebook by Nakabayashi. And on here, the sheening is a little slight. I'm sure it would be, you would pick up on it more on the Tomoe River paper, but I think it's really beautiful. It reminds me a lot of Diamine Holly, though this one leans a little bit more teal than green. And now that the ink swatches have all pretty much been dry, they're all done, they're all dry now, you could see how much Tachisabi Midori, Diamine Holly, especially Diamine Holly, how much they sheen. You could see the sheening in the writing sample of the Wearingeul ink. And so to me, it looks like the closest inks, like the ink twin, would probably be Tachisabi Midori. Diamine Aurora Borealis, not so much sheen as these three. So I'm really happy that I picked these three for comparison. My thoughts on this pen, well, for one, I love the Opus 88. I have one myself, and I keep this perpetually inked with Diatramentis Jane Austen. I really like this pen and ink combination. This is actually in the extra fine nib. And for some reason, with such a large pen, I didn't quite like the extra fine nib. So I'm really glad that I now have an Opus 88 in a fine. And as you could see, it writes really well, really reliable. I really like this pen and ink combination. I think this is a major win. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this writing sample. I hope you enjoyed the ink swatches and a little bit of a review. I'll see you again in my next video. Take care. Bye.